Eric. I'm Donna.
I'm Eric.
And once again, we're doing an author interview for Texas AuthorCon and Book Festival. And we have with us RJ Joseph is your pen name,
Mhm.
um, Rhonda. So welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. I'm excited. I love your name.
Yeah, it's great. We love our little show. Me and Eric have a good time. Um, so yeah, we're just going to do some fun little icebreaker questions just to get to know you. So
Okay.
first up is Freddie, Michael, or Jason?
Who? Jason.
Okay, the correct answer.
It's
Correct
okay.
answer.
Did I pass? Okay.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep,
yeah,
that's
we're a
the
pro Friday the 13th show, so
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, we're kind of equal opportunity, but we're
yeah.
Sure, sure.
more towards Friday the 13th.
Yes, I concur.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Friday the 13th movie?
I'm a really big fan of the first one, just because I do study that whole monstrous motherhood thing, and it's like
Okay.
perfect for that. It's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And it holds up. It holds up so
Yeah,
well when you
it
watch
really
it again.
does.
I mean, some of the other ones you can kind of see. You kind of have to squint to miss the flaws and stuff, but that first one
Sure.
is done really well. I really
Yes,
enjoy the way
yes.
they wrote the whole thing, and it's a good twist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
nice. So werewolves or vampires?
Werewolves.
Well, you're batting 1,000.
Yeah, you are.
Ah, really? Excellent. Yes, yes.
Now, do you like your bipedal werewolf or your wolf-like werewolf?
I really like the wolf-like ones because
Okay.
I think it gives a lot of room to play with how to describe them, their movement, their shifting process. It just gives a little more room to play with, I think.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. We're Eric and I lean more towards the bipedal, like in the Howling and Dog
Yeah,
Soldiers.
yeah.
But I enjoy a good wolf-like werewolf as well. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah,
American
American.
Werewolf.
exactly.
Yeah, American
Mhm.
Werewolf in
Yeah.
London. That's a great one. Um, so I do want to step back a little bit. You said something about monstrous mothers, and you study that. Is that
Mhm.
what you do? Explain about that because I'm curious.
Oh, well, I'm a horror academic also. So I write creatively, but also write academically about horror. And
Okay.
so the things that I like to analyze and take a look at are usually the intersections of race and gender in the
Hmm.
horror genre and in pop culture. And so I'm always looking at like the mothers that we call monstrous. Can they really be labeled with that title? How is it that we think that they are these monsters? And I've just always been fascinated by the idea that life givers can also be life takers, and so that's my jam.
Nice.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
fascinating. I didn't know you could be do a horror academic. Like
Yes,
that's
it's a
fair.
crazy thing because I when I went to get my MFA, I guess about 12 or 13 years ago, I graduated, but I was there with horror academics, but in my brain didn't register that it was a real thing that people could do, even though there were real people doing it, teaching us in the program. And so I ran into another Black woman scholar of horror at one of the World Horror Con when it was with Stoker Con. So in about 2013, so I thought, oh my gosh, her whole PhD is in Black women in horror. And I thought, wait a minute. So this horror academic thing can be done like as a job. We can really. And so I started putting together all the pieces and I go, well, a lot of my professors who were in the horror track, they are horror academics. So I thought, what a wonderful way to fall right into a hole
Yeah, for
and
Yeah,
just
sure.
kind
That
of
would be
be able to
awesome.
yeah,
work. Yeah, yeah.
that is very, very fascinating. Um, cool. Thank you for explaining that. Um, so do you have a favorite scary movie from when you were a kid, and is it still your favorite scary movie today?
Well, I have lots of favorites depending on the day.
Yeah.
So today, I think I have to say today my favorite is The Thing from 1982. and it is still one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
There's really just something about Kurt Russell and Keith David, like in this isolated locale, and you have all these personalities bumping against each other, but then you have this ice everywhere. As a lifelong Texan, ice terrifies me like that. So it's always creepy just to watch how the ice covers everything and to think about how very isolated they are. And even the monster, like the effects. I mean, I still kind of go ill when I see
They
that
hold up. They
creeping
hold up to
across the
Hmm.
floor.
CGI. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, like it is still definitely one of my favorites all time.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
perfect cast. Everything
Yes,
about it's great. It makes no sense that it didn't immediately hit. It's one of those movies that
right.
that had to get a cult following and then becomes this thing that everybody talks about. But yeah, no, I think it might be one of the perfect horror movies.
Yes, I think so. I agree. I totally agree with you, Eric.
Yeah. I can, it's funny in that movie, I can handle like the dog scene. Um, I can handle, pretty much anything except for that, what I call the spider head.
Oh,
Uh,
that's my favorite.
I hate that scene. It freaks me out every time.
Oh man. Yes, I live for it. It's creepy, but I live
It
for
is.
Yeah.
that.
It's very effective.
It really is. It's so perfect.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite horror novel?
I do. Beloved by Toni Morrison
Okay.
is my favorite all-time horror novel. And a close second is the collected short works of Edgar Allan Poe.
Mhm.
Because I read those as a kid, and I mean, I have never strayed away from those short stories. So, but yeah, Beloved is one of those things. I think that it really ties in the ideas of real life horrors into this story about the supernatural and about grief and guilt.
Right. Now, would that be a book, either that or Poe? Would that be something you'd recommend to somebody who's just starting to read horror and says, "Hey, what would you recommend as my first horror book that I read?"
I probably would not recommend Beloved, only because of the real life story that it's that's kind of based in.
Mhm.
I think that a lot of people can find child deaths very traumatic. So I wouldn't suggest that, but I would suggest not as first reading. I think that's kind of more an intermediate level of horror when you start to contemplate not just yourself and horror with you, but like horror coming from the outside. But I would definitely, I always refer my students to Edgar Allan Poe stories. We use them every chance that I get, and his poems, because I think that the atmosphere, but also the fact that you can really literally see the literary devices at play, like you can see the imagery, you can see the symbolism. Um, I think that it makes for really fun reading because we don't have a whole lot of writers who are writing that way now. And so I think it's a really good way to get people introduced to, well, this is what horror used to be when it was, in its gothic infancy. So I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
have a
we've had,
favorite?
I do have a favorite. My favorite Poe story is Berenice.
Okay.
Um, it's because it's so creepy. I always was terrified at the fact that we're told this through the lead character's point of view, but then I'm like, how must Berenice have felt while she's dying, and this guy is fascinated with her teeth? Like, I'm dying, can you make me comfortable, can you help me? No, I'm gonna focus on your teeth. That is just the creepiest thing. That is
Yeah.
so creepy.
yeah, yeah, we've been doing a lot of classics, or we have done a lot of classics at the beginning of the year and the end of last year, like Frankenstein and Dracula.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and they were books that I hadn't read before. And
Mm-hmm.
I may not have 100% loved Dracula or loved Frankenstein, um,
Uh-huh.
but I think it's a good idea for people who like to read horror to at least wet their feet with a classic, just so
Sure.
they can understand where horror came from.
And that's
Mhm.
exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use both of those, Dracula and Frankenstein, in one of my classes that I teach in women in horror here on campus. And I love them. I love the critical editions of those because they come with not just the story, but they come with the critical essays in the back. And so students, these classics have built up a big library of criticism that our newer horror hasn't. You know, academia works really slowly. About some things. And so I like using the classics because there is a ton of criticism about them.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the fun thing is, or maybe not the fun thing, but the interesting thing is we go and we look and we see these things were written, 100+ years ago, and many of the same themes that we're writing about today are reflected there. Some of the same
Yes,
fears and all the other stuff, just
Mhm.
handled in a different way, packaged
exactly.
a little differently. But so that's always interesting to see that we kind of have all these fundamental fears that just continue to go through humanity as we approach more, I don't know how would you say, more advanced stages in life,
Mhm.
when we can see that, oh, well, we still have a lot in common with the people that we came from. So
Yes, great point. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Love it. Love classics.
Now, usually we'll ask someone we're interviewing what genre they write in, but it's clear that you write horror
Yes.
without coming right out and saying that you're a horror author. Um, and I'm just going to share my screen here because I grabbed um, some covers off of
Oh,
Amazon.
nice. Nice
Um,
graphics.
yeah, so Hell Hath No Sorrow, Like a Woman Haunted. That is a beautiful title to me.
Thank
Um,
you.
I really like the cover too.
yeah, the cover
Thank
is
you.
stunning, and it's like
Mhm.
you can feel the emotion, in
Yes.
that cover.
Yeah, my publisher did a wonderful job with that. When they showed me the mock-ups, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. It's perfect. Everything about it. Actually, when they first showed it to me, it didn't have the claw marks. And
Mhm.
then when they showed me the final, it had those. And I thought that's all that was missing. Otherwise, they did a perfect job.
Yeah. And then I grabbed Black Magic Women because I saw that I was perusing your author page on Amazon. I see
Mhm.
that you're in a lot of anthologies and poetry collections,
Yes.
women in horror poetry collections. But I
Mhm.
just really like the cover for Black Magic Women. It was edited by Sumiko Salson.
Mhm.
Um, so I just pulled that in there. So, if the people watching the video wanted to go and check out your stuff on Amazon, they can see, you have a lot of anthologies you're in. And then you have this book here,
Yes.
which
Thank you. That was thoughtful of you.
I'm actually going to be reading that one because I'm just very intrigued by it. I don't know what it's about because I didn't read the summary. I just love the cover and the title. So
Oh,
it's like
nice. Thank
definitely
you.
on my list. Um, so yeah, now you were in the poetry collections, so you write horror poetry as well.
I do. I do write horror poetry. It doesn't come as I hate to say easily, but it doesn't come as naturally to me as the other short forms like short stories and essays. But I do dabble. I find that I'm still a student of
Mhm.
poetry writing, and so sometimes I get it right, and sometimes I don't. But I'm
I
still
think
learning
that's
a whole lot about expressing myself with poetry. So.
Yeah, I think it
That's
takes a lot
exciting.
of courage to go out there and do the poetry because it is such a different, it's an alien, when you compare it to
Yes.
short story and novels and stuff. So
Yes.
everybody I know that can do poetry, and Donna does poetry,
Mm-hmm.
Candace, Nola, Mike
Uh-huh.
Ennerbach, they always amaze me with the stuff they come up with. So
Right. Oh my gosh. Yes. I am just in love with like Linda Addison's work, Stephanie Wojtovic's work. And then of course, we look at Poe's
mhm.
poems all the time. And I am always just blown away. Sarah Tantlinger is another one of my favorite poets. And I'm just kind of going, oh, I have so much to learn. So that's really exciting. It's a great playground to learn in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, would you ever take on the challenge of writing a story in poem form?
Yeah, I'm not that advanced yet. I mean, I think about something like The Raven or even was it Tantlinger did like Jack the Ripper themed poetry collection kind of a thing. It was brilliant. Oh my gosh. So I mean, it's one of those things that I always think, oh, if I ever retire and have more time, maybe when all the kids leave home, maybe. And then I go, I don't know, we'll see.
I'm curious on the academic side, do you have any of that stuff? I mean, do you have published papers or way for people to access any of that?
I do. So I have a couple of essays in a couple of essay collections. So one
Hmm.
of them is called Uncovering Stranger Things. It was edited by Kevin Wetmore, who's brilliant, brilliant academic editor in person. So these essays were about the Netflix series Stranger Things. So
Oh,
I do have an essay there in that collection. And then he did another one on The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, cool.
Also the Netflix iteration.
Hmm.
So the essay that I have that was nominated for a Stoker Award that year was in that collection.
Very cool.
wow.
Yeah,
Now,
thank you.
just briefly, I love Stranger Things. What was your essay? Just a brief overview of your essay in that collection.
It was basically about character foils and how there was this veneer of respectability given to the one character. I can't remember the names now, of course, but the character that Winona White writer plays, right? Like
Oh yeah,
she's the
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
one. Yeah, she was the one that was the foil to the girl's mom, the one that was always perfectly coiffed, and so they were foils, and it was done intentionally, I'm pretty sure, to make it seem as if Ryder's character was not to be trusted because of all the negativity that was thrown her way. But then it turns out that she was actually the reluctant heroine.
Hmm.
So that's what it was about. It was basically about them being shown in mirror of each other.
Very
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. Um, so tell us about your writing environment. Do you listen to music when you write, or do you have quiet?
Quiet scares me. I have a whole lot of kids at home. They are like older teenagers, young adults. Whenever the house is totally quiet, I know something's going wrong. So I can't really, concentrate. Even here on campus, my office is right next door to like the smaller study rooms that students can reserve and work in. So there's always some kind of, kerfluffles going on. And then I'm on a main hallway, so I kind of need that background noise to stay rooted in the here. There are some times when I need quiet. That would be probably when I'm editing something that's nonfiction, academic in scope, and I really need to concentrate on, okay, are your citations correct? Did you really say this the way that you wanted it to be represented? That requires a level of focus that I do. Like I tend to stay on campus later. The night classes, there those students are way quieter. Like they just came from work, they don't have time to play around, they don't have the energy that the daytime students have. But usually I'm writing in the middle of chaos. It works for me. And I kind of need that. So at home, the dog's barking, the kids are running, and then this one is doing that, and there's the thing, and my husband is like, "Have you seen this?" And I'm in my element. Type, type, type. Yes, over there. Type, type, type. This is here. Okay, okay. Yes, I'll get dinner later. Let me order it. Click. Okay, go get the delivery. Click, click, click.
Now that's now that's interesting. I admire you for being able to do that. I need perfect quiet when I write.
Oh
Um,
man, I don't know what perfect quiet is. Like I think it's a little unsettling because like even here, if it's too quiet, I'm like, wait, something's wrong. Did everybody leave? Did I miss the
Yeah.
memo?
yeah, so I think I enjoy the quiet because I have a 10-year-old who is autistic and he's very
Uh-huh.
loud.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
and so when he's in bed at night, or he's
Uh-huh.
at school and I'm home by myself, it's peaceful and quiet. So I can, you know, focus
Yeah.
on what I'm trying to write. Um, so I think that's
Yes.
why the quiet works for me is because that chaos it's always there. Um,
Yes. Oh, sure. Well,
yeah.
yeah, and I think that's why I embrace it. My older daughter has cerebral palsy, and so she is 21, and we cannot make her be quiet. Like I can't bribe her. You know what I mean? Like she
Yeah.
doesn't eat or anything like that. So yeah, so she's a part of the chaos. So I totally understand that.
Yep. Yep. I tell people, I'm like, he doesn't talk, but he's the loudest person I know.
Exactly. How is it that they're nonverbal, but they say more than anybody?
Yep.
Oh, I
Yep.
love that. I love it.
Um, oop, do you have any new projects that you're working on? Any new books or collections?
Well, I just had this month a short story released in a new anthology. It's an eco horror anthology from Outland Entertainment. It's called To Root Somewhere Beautiful. It has the most gorgeous cover. I'm really excited about that one. So it just came out like the beginning of this month or so, and so I'm really excited about it. I'm always writing different things. Like I just finished a proposal on a book about Black folk horror movies,
Ooh,
and so I'm kind of sending that one around, kind of gauging interest in it. I do have a second collection that I'm just about ready to start shopping around to, and that's exciting. And
Yeah,
one
it's always
day,
exciting.
yeah, thank you. One day, hopefully soon, I will finish this splatter Western that I've been writing for what seems like 100 years.
ooh, splatter Western. Now that's fun. I
Yes. Oh
love
my gosh. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it is. That's a fun time to go in and write. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because Eric's written a splatter Western. I don't think I could ever write a splatter Western, but so I'll just enjoy the reading of them.
Yeah. Oh, so Eric, when you were writing, I find myself getting bogged down in the history.
yeah, a little bit.
That,
You want to make sure everything's accurate and you want to
yeah.
place everything exactly. Yeah. So there I did spend a little time trying to get some research done first, and it's more of a short. It's only 12,000 words, so I did them as a
Yeah.
small little,
Only.
and so
Yeah,
but yeah, you definitely get bogged down a little bit because you don't want it to come across as I don't want to say disrespectful, but you know what I
Sure,
mean.
sure.
You're always going to have those readers that want everything to be completely correct. So I'll
Right.
occasionally you take some, you know, you change a few things here or there, but nothing
Hmm.
that's too crazy. But yeah, I know getting down with the firearms that they would have at that time,
Yes.
researching all that because mine takes place right after the Civil War. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll have to check that out. That sounds
cool.
cool. Yes, I love
yes.
splatter
To
westerns.
stare death in the eyes, it's really
Yeah. So
good.
as I said, I think I have yeah. So I just got them put in these little 4x6,
Oh, nice. Oh, I
and,
love that.
and I will have them at Texas AuthorCon.
Ah, well, I might just wait until then so I can get it signed. That's
Sweet.
what I'll do. Yes, I love it. It's a date.
Yeah, great. You're just a fascinating person.
Thank you.
You're very fascinating. Um, so what are you looking forward to most, obviously, besides selling books? Looking forward to most about Texas AuthorCon and Book Festival.
Well, I'm really looking forward to just being there with everybody. I really really thrive in that creative setting, and I pull a lot of that energy from fellow creatives. I just felt so bad that every year it would happen, and I would go, I gotta go. I'm just a couple of hours up the highway. Well, maybe more than a couple, but you know how we do in Texas.
Mhm.
And I'm like, how do I miss it every single year? Like I miss it as a writer, I miss it as a fan, and thankfully, Holly Ray Garcia, oh, I love her so much, and her
She's
writing is
sweet. Yeah.
brilliant. She says to me, well, hey, maybe you could come and share my table with me. And I thought, really? Because I was going to go as a fan. I just wasn't going to miss it this time. And she says, yeah, it's fine. I ran it by Meryl and it's okay. And I was like, okay, well, how much money? Can I give you money? And I sent her money and she's like, yay, we're in. So I'm really
Perfect.
excited about that. I think that it's important. I do go to a few cons throughout the year. I think it's really important that we here in Texas support the Texas cons. Like we want them to keep happening, and that the only way that happens is for us to support them. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about lending my support this time.
Yeah, I was going to ask if because I wasn't stalking you. I was just trying to get a sense of what your book was called. So
This feels awkward.
I went on your Facebook page and I saw a picture of you with Holly. Um,
Uh-huh.
so because I didn't know what the name of one of your books was.
Right, right.
And I tried searching your legal name on Amazon and I couldn't
Yeah,
find it. So I'm like, well, I'm
yeah.
gonna have to go to her Facebook and see if there's any pictures of her with her book. Anyways, I was gonna
Mhm.
ask if you knew anybody besides Holly. Um,
So I think Candace Nola is going to be there.
yep.
I
Uh-huh.
know Candace. I had the chance. I mean, I've been talking to her online forever, but I had the chance to meet her at Stoker Con last year, I think. Um, I want to say I haven't looked at the whole list, but probably I do know Candace and Holly. So I'll probably see other people where I go, oh, I've read their work. Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Rebecca
Once I get
Rowland. Do you know Rebecca Rowland? Because she was at Stoker last year too.
You know what? I do know Rebecca Rowland. I think I know her online. I probably met her at Stoker and then,
Mhm.
of course, unmet her because there's so many people in Stoker
Oh, I know. Yeah,
Con.
I'm
Yeah.
terrible. I'm terrible
Yeah.
with that. So
Yeah. Yes,
yeah,
but I
no,
do
it's
know
a good
Rebecca.
collection of people, and it's going to be a whole bunch of different genres too. It's cool that we
Yeah.
have a good foundation with horror writers, but we're branching out, and they're going to have, Meryl made sure to make it available to a whole bunch of different genres so that we
Oh,
can
good.
help all Texas writers out instead of just
Yeah,
one
yeah.
genre.
Yeah, because we need all these genres. Like I read a lot of romance also. So
Oh
like
yeah, I
I'm
read
an
a ton of
equal
stuff that's not
opportunity
horror.
reader. Yeah, I need
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, romance is good. I read a lot too, all different genres. I read my
Mhm.
romance, I read horror, I read my thrillers. I'm a big James
Yes.
Rollins
Oh,
fan.
thrillers. Yes.
Yeah.
That's something I've been doing a lot of listening to the audiobooks on my commute to work and
Hmm.
stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've fallen into this S.A. Cosby hole that I love being in. And I'm like, okay, when are you gonna write something else? I need the next thing.
That's so funny. Um, so yeah, so where can people find your books? I know I've mentioned it, but do you have a website where people can buy signed copies from you or
I do have a website, and usually I'm hunting most of the social media platforms, some of them more effectively than others, behind at R Jackson Joseph. So I'm that person that somebody could literally just DM me and go, hey, I want to buy one of your books, and I'll go, cool, it's this much. Go to PayPal, cool. I'll pop it in the mail. So that's probably the easiest way to
Yeah.
get in touch with me. I do have a website, RhondaJacksonJoseph.com. Um, but it took me forever to even get that website up. Like I think that's a pretty new development, like maybe later last year. So I have it. My web designer is also my promo lady, and she's always going, "We can do this, we can do that," and I'm like, "Wait, listen, I'm just doing good to have this up right now. We will work on all that other stuff later. There's this whole like generational learning curve that I'm going to need you to be aware of."
Definitely, I'm the same way.
Yes, I'm like, I just DM me, man.
Yeah, that's so funny. So everybody who's watching, if you'd like a signed copy, just send her a DM on Facebook or you're on Instagram.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Instagram, Twitter. I'm on Threads and Substack, and I'm not very successfully on TikTok, but I have a presence there. I'm working on that. I'm working on that one. Blue Sky. Yeah, I'm like, I think I'm just about everywhere.
Do you incorporate any of your academic stuff in your Substack?
So with Substack, I have the account and I didn't really get it rolling the way that I
Mhm.
wanted to. But I did start a newsletter with a different place. I think it's Button Down. Uh, it's like the thing. So I am starting to talk about more academic stuff because like we have calls for papers. I do work with a couple of cons. I'm working with Stoker Con with
Mhm.
Dr. Bridget Keown on developing that and Rad Con, which is the academic part of Stoker. And so we have a call for papers out right now that ends on the 31st. So I realized that the more I talk about all of these things, since they all are the same things, just different branches, that it would be beneficial for me to talk about the academic too. Um, and there's another con that I work with, Multiverse, that happens in October in the Atlanta area that also has an academic track where we are now taking proposals for those academic presentations too.
Cool.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. I, for one, would sign up for a newsletter with academic papers on horror because I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
that,
Yay, nice. Yes.
yeah,
We need
yeah,
these things.
yeah,
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I've been a fan of horror for a long time, but I never realized until the last year or so, when Eric and I started doing this show, because that's what we do on here. We talk about
Mhm.
horror movies and horror books,
Yeah.
um, that it's nice to know not just, it's a vampire, they suck blood, they killed this guy and they killed that girl, and and now they're ruling the world, the end. It's nice to know the inner workings of not only the books themselves, but the horror industry.
Yeah, oh sure. Oh my gosh, it's a whole thing. I'm just really excited that we're being more visible with the academic side. Because I'm like, we already have Gothic studies, we've had those forever. And I'm like, it really isn't a far leap to say, okay, have romance studies and have horror studies. I mean, they're both kids of Gothic, you know, so I'm like,
Hmm.
it's natural. I really appreciate that those horizons are broadening. So I'm excited about it.
Great. So yeah, we will have links to your Amazon author page in the description of the video, as well as a link to the Eventbrite, so you can grab your tickets to Texas AuthorCon and Book Festival for July. And thank you so much for joining us today, Rhonda. I appreciate it, and it's been very interesting speaking with you. I've learned a lot, actually.
Thank
Um,
you. I'm so
and,
excited to be here. Thank you both for having me. And I'm excited to already have a book on my must buy list. I'm excited about that.
yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all in July, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Take it easy.